Morning, Neville.
Oh, you are there, Annalise. Good morning to you.
I put a lot of letters on your desk. I don't know if you've seen. I think they're for the back bypass.
Bypass?
The bypass, yes.
Sumton again?
Yes. That seems to... Yes.
Just great. I mean, we're still in the consultation period. I mean, it's not going to go ahead until Kirsty's give the nod.
They've got to express their opinions. That's what we want.
I suppose you want me to read them, do you?
Well, that would be helpful, Neville, if you could, yes.
Oh, any chance of a coffee?
Oh, cappuccino, espresso, bulletproof coffee?
Oh, just plain, Nescafe, whatever.
Black, no sugar. Yes, I know.
Thank you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Thank you. Dear Mr. Elms, MP.
It is with much sadness that I find myself writing to you. Having seen the new bypass application, I realise that I will lose my land and my home. A property which has been in the family for 4 generations and as a family home contains many happy memories. Memories that will be forgotten if the house is destroyed. You see, as I stand in this kitchen, I'm reminded of my mother and my grandmother laughing as they cooked, and to see myself standing on a stool beside them, learning those skills and making a mess. I now have a small business providing cakes and cheeses. This business provides a much needed income, which my family may lose if the bypass application is accepted. In the dining room, I visualise my dad presiding over Christmas dinner. He's telling stories of how he met Mum, of cinema outings and how they learnt to jive, and all the fun times that they had together. And finally, I see myself with my brother and my sister running and playing outside on our land. Such happy times. And so, Mr. Elms, I appeal to your compassion and your kindness to oppose the bypass plans, for I have little control over the outcome, but you do. Please don't destroy my memories. Yours sincerely, Rebecca Wheeler.
Homemade cheese? Sounds like a recipe for salmonella and a stomach pump. Dear Neville.
I hope you, Susan, Daniel and Chloe are well. Sophia's so looking forward to the evening party after Daniel's wedding. I'm so glad she and Chloe have rekindled their friendship now Sophia's back from Durham. I must confess, I did worry she might miss her history of art chums, but she's so happy working at the stables and seeing Chloe and their old gang. I'm sure Chloe must be almost as upset as us over the bypass route. Jenny and Ted are beside themselves over the effect on the stables. And all the lovely rides our girls did together will be ruined you realise Beaches Avenue bridle path would be completely sundered in two? This has been the ceremonial approach from Sumton Hall into Sumton from the 16th century, and has a great historical importance. Thundering juggernauts will be beeping their horns just yards from where we do riding for the disabled, for which calm is essential. Their riding lesson is the high point of the week for these disabled children. It would be cruel for them to lose it. You must agree. Can you imagine NGS visitors wanting to see the garden here at Broadlands if it looks and sounds as if we're next to a motorway? My poor father and mother would be horrified. I adored the tranquility here. This quintessential English countryside is so precious. We mustn't let it be desecrated. Developers will scramble to build anonymous little houses over the meadows between a bypass and the town, and then we shall be marooned in a suburb. Hugo and I do hope you and Susan will attend our open garden on Wednesday, 15th June. I think the roses should be at their best. And it's such a nice, informal way to meet your constituents. Please do pop over anytime you like. It would be such a treat to see you both. Fond regards, Josie Melville.
Josie Melville, you've a cheek. I remember my daughter coming home in tears after being bullied by your Sophia, so Miss Josie Melville, you can stick your garden party. Dear MP, Mr. Elms.
My husband Ricardo and I have moved from Spain to Sumton a couple of years ago in order to be closer to our daughters and grandchildren. And I have to say, I love it here. The reason why I'm writing this letter to you, dear Mr. Elms, is to express our support for the idea of building the road bypass near our gorgeous city of Sumton. We believe that the bypass, once built, will result in a safer environment in our city, especially for those many kids on bicycles and scooters. Additionally, the bypass, by liberating areas now dedicated to road lanes to support pass-through traffic, will open opportunities to build green areas, parks for kids and dogs, and also result in pollution decrease. The bypass offers as well an opportunity to improve the quality of life in the city and the surrounding villages, as it enables more walking streets with low traffic flow. Those walking streets which John provides space to open artisan shops, home food restaurants, and open air markets. We would like to thank you, Mr. Elms, for the decisive action you have taken now and before to develop our city. Yours sincerely, Teresa and Ricardo Rodriguez.
Well, Teresa Rodriguez, That's probably the best letter I've read in weeks. Such a pity about the Spanish business, though. 2 years, that's after the Brexit vote. Surprised you're still in the country. Dear Mr. Elms,
I am writing to oppose the proposed bypass route near the town of Sumton. I'm a small business owner and I run an ice cream parlour. I can make a reasonable profit outside of the summer months, but I depend on passing tourist trade to keep the parlour going. My ice cream is well known in the area and in great demand at this time, so any loss of business would hit me hard. I live on the property, so I could lose my home as well. The route for the bypass would divert all passing tourist traffic, so I would lose vital business. I understand the locals are concerned about commercial traffic coming through the town, but as far as I know, these days it's mostly only suppliers for local businesses. I have spoken to other small businesses on the high street, and they think they may be affected too. Also, I supply ice cream to one of the local restaurants, so they worry as well. If you could please consider my position when voting on the proposed bypass, I would be grateful. Yours sincerely, Brian Jones.
Well, if it's not Ryan the Cornetto Kid. Now, if you're saying to me all this traffic is local, makes me wonder why we're building the blessed thing in the first place. Sorry, Mr. Jones, ours is not the reason why.
Well, now's the time. Come on then, Nev. Here we go.
Oh. Annalise, look, I've got, Gordon Jackson trying to face me or something on, look, I've been avoiding him all week. If it goes on longer than 5 minutes, do you think you could buzz me with an appointment or something? Gordon, great to see you. I've been trying to get hold of you all week. I guess you're busy with wedding plans and all that. You're Kylie and my Dan. Matchmaking heaven, eh?
Yeah, we really are. It's getting to the very busy time for the wedding, but that's not the reason for calling, I'm afraid. It's about this damn bypass.
Damn bypass.
I really need your help with this.
In what way? It's still in consultation. It might not go through at all.
Yeah, I know, but the company really needs to win this business.
You're a successful businessman. You don't need this contract, do you? You're doing well.
Yeah, we've done well, but this past year's been terrible, and I had to borrow a lot from the banks to keep us ahead. And if we don't get this contract, then that could be the end of us.
Well, I'm not sure I can help, Gordon. I can speak with the undersecretary. You know who I mean, but Baron Franks.
Yeah.
Got it in one. Yes, I don't know what else I can do.
I'm just appealing. You know, whatever you can do for us will make this thing much better.
Well, I'll see what I can do, but I'm going to have to go. I've got another appointment coming in any minute. Oh, there it is. Bye, Gordon. I'll catch you another time. Be in touch. Oh, Gordon Bennett.
What am I going to do?
How many more of these blasted things are there? Dear Mr. Elms,
I write to you about the delicate matter of the bypass. I'm sure, like all of us, you value the office of public service. It is clearly important to guard that high standard to assure your constituents that the public money is being spent fairly and value for money is obtained at all times. However, I hesitate to report a conversation I heard in the village pub, but I feel I must. To the point, Mr. Jackson has made no secret of the financial difficulties of his construction company. However, the conversation took a worrying turn when he implied that he intended to exert some influence on you with regard to his company's bid. I hope you will take measures to guard your good name, assuring you of my support. As always, yours faithfully, Major George Barnes.
Well, Major, you don't need to tell me about Jackson. If I'd have known this an hour ago, I wouldn't have done that face what's it. Yeah, I thought he was just incompetent, not insolvent. What am I going to do? Dear Mr. Elms,
I have never been drawn to writing to my MP before, but recent events have brought me to the end of my tether. The state of the roads in Sumton are diabolical. I'm not sure what our taxes have been spent on, but pothole repairs don't seem to be very high on the agenda. I'm a carer for both my parents, who live apart, opposite ends of the town, so I've got to drive to get to them because the buses don't run when I need to get there. You wouldn't believe the week I've had. I was on the way back from my father's house last week, and an oncoming car forced me into a huge pothole. Just about managed to limp the car home and got it into the garage the next day, thankfully. Got a car back yesterday, and then I twisted my ankle in a pothole outside my mother's house. I just couldn't believe it. It's turned into a very expensive and painful week. Taxis, car repairs, and now I've had to get agency staff in to look after my parents for a couple of days. My mother asked me to appeal to your better nature. She says she remembers you as a young boy, happily playing along Green Road where she still lives. What are you going to do about the state of the roads? Never mind this proposed bypass I keep hearing about. Proper care of the roads we already have are needed first because of building any more. Yours, hopefully, Emma Woods.
Potholes, eh? I wonder if that's something Gordon could pick up on. No, even that's probably beyond him. Dear Neville.
I hope you're keeping well and enjoying your new life as an MP. It's been a while since we saw each other, particularly as my son Anthony has not been playing rugby at the club as much as he used to. I always enjoyed a beer and a hot dog in the bar with you and Susan afterwards, and my wife Elizabeth seemed to find this the best bit of the weekend. I know you two got on well. Sadly, she left me a year ago. but I know she would send her best wishes. I'm writing in support of the proposed bypass of Sumton. As you know, I have in the past always been against such a proposal, as I'm concerned about the effect it might have on passing trade of the local shops, although it doesn't affect my business directly. You may recall I have a garden machinery business on the outskirts of town. Unfortunately, trade has been poor the last few years, and my hope of selling and retiring has completely disappeared. Over the last few years, the level of traffic in the centre of town has become unsustainable, causing delays, parking difficulties, and a toxic atmosphere from all those emissions. Last week, I drove into town at lunchtime to do some shopping and get a sandwich. It took me 20 minutes to find a park, and I wasn't the only car driving around slowly, filling the town centre with exhaust fumes. Much of the traffic was just trying to get through town, but having to dawdle along, choking us all. I was grateful to get back to my business premises and take some deep breaths of fresh air. We know pollution causes lung disease and deaths, so it's time to do something now. Of the two options, I strongly support the north route, as it'll be less noisy for those posh houses in the south and fewer businesses affected in my view. I'm completely aware this passes straight through the 2 acres of my business, but actually the compensation would suit me really well. I hope I can rely on your support for this proposal, Neville, as I would rather not have to bring up your relationship with Elizabeth to compromise your position. Best wishes, Claude.
Annalise, any chance of a coffee? It's a little dry in here.
Coffee. Okay, coming right up. Oh, just let me answer this phone call, okay? Neville Elms MP.
Annalise, it's Susanna. Susanna Alexander, you remember me, surely?
Oh, Mrs. Alexander's daughter. Oh,
it's been
yes.
Such a long time. I mean, how are you? Mummy says hello, of course.
Yeah, good. Yes. Fine.
I'm reading about this bloody pipe bypass in Sumton. And, you know, I'd love to have an informal chat with your boss.
Oh, he's not available at the moment, I'm afraid. It's...
Annalise, go on.
I'm sorry, he's very busy. He has a full schedule.
I'm sure. But, you know, we go back such a long way, don't we, Annalise?
I'm sorry, but he's, I mean, at the moment, no, he's in a meeting. He can't possibly talk.
Well, okay. Well, you know my gorgeous little restaurant, Serendipity, don't you? I mean, I welcomed you and your boss there several times, at different times, of course, and see you enjoy a meal or two. We have invested hugely in this place with a gigantic mortgage, and it's just taking off. An awful lot of our business comes from passing traffic.
Yes.
I've even done a little survey thingy with my lovely, lovely customers. And, well, we live above the place as well, Annalise. You know that because, you know, with our beautiful twins, Sasha and Georgie, you remember them, don't you? They loved you. Remember when you babysat for them that time?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, you know me, Annalise, ever the optimist. But I'm starting to stay up half the night.
I'm very sorry to hear that. Look, I'm afraid he can't talk, so you can try writing. Please feel free to write.
Annalise, if this bypass goes ahead, we could lose everything. And
I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. There are lots of issues that must be considered, and your views will be taken into consideration, okay?
You have a very close working relationship, I heard, don't you? I mean, I'm sure he'd listen to you.
I'm sorry, he's not available. All views will be taken into consideration during the consultation progress. Thank you for your call. Goodbye.
Annalise? Sebastian, she hung up on me. Bloody hell, wait till I tell Mummy.
Annalise!
Yeah.
Coffee!
Oh, coffee. Coming right up.
Dear Mr. Elmo,
I was born in Sumton 75 years ago, and I welcome the bypass. But please tell me, why has the obvious route not been chosen, the one to the south through open farmland? Maybe the privileged few think their tranquility will be disturbed if the wind blows in the wrong direction, or maybe some well-heeled developer has his or her eye on a new subdivision. I can't understand why a northern route was suggested in the first place. I'm sure you must be aware that this would see the end of Orchard Farm and the Animal Rescue Centre. I've volunteered there for 20 years. There are hundreds of animals in their care. It's madness to think that everything can be simply packed up and shipped out just like that after 60 years. Frankly, if not totally insane, I find the idea absolutely outrageous. Apart from a few, we are proud to be known as a nation of animal lovers. If the Orchard Farm route does go ahead, believe me, there will be an active protest. And like it or not, you and your cohorts will have a fight on your hands. Yours truly, Valerie Fletcher, concerned citizen and animal lover.
Packed up and shipped out just like that. Haven't you heard of Fray Ventos? Dear Mr. Elms,
I was surprised and very disappointed to read about a proposed Sumton bypass in the local free newspaper and not by a letter correctly addressed to me at my home. Surely this is not the way to communicate with local residents about such a disruptive and destructive road scheme. This bypass will be a blot on the landscape, and it will destroy acres of ancient woodland and sites of special scientific interest. Now, may I suggest that instead of a bypass, the town's traffic congestion could be better relieved by rerouting traffic along A roads in the neighbouring counties? Surely some joined-up thinking is required here. I can't understand why this hasn't been done already. As an active member of the local branches of the Council for the Preservation of Rural England and the National Garden Scheme, I will campaign vigorously against this bypass and will, if necessary, lie down in front of the bulldozers when the time comes. Just like Boris Johnson promised to do with the Heathrow extension. Therefore, I trust you will also do your utmost to oppose this development and any other similar inappropriate developments at Sumton. Keep Sumton special. Yours sincerely, Peter Jones, Chartered Accountant, retired. Oh, and I nearly forgot to say, unlike Boris with the Heathrow extension, I'm not going to get called away to any fake meetings in Outer Mongolia when the time comes. So I'll see you when the bulldozers arrive.
Neighbouring heroes. Chopped up thinking. This is the government you're talking about, for goodness sake. Oh, thank God that's the last one. Oh. Grant! Yes, lovely. Lovely to hear from you. How are things? So I've been bogged down with all these blooming bypass letters this morning. It's completely bonkers. Yeah, that's right. Sumton bypass. I mean, what do you think? Oh, Northern route. Please the party membership on the south. Yeah, good point. Southern route, connect with the M40. Oh, blast it. I tell you what, do you fancy a round of golf this afternoon? Yeah, I can make 4 o'clock. Excellent. See you on the 19th. Thank you, Grant. Annalise, are you there?
Yes, Neville.
I just let you know I shall be leaving the office shortly for that 4 o'clock meeting.
4 o'clock? I don't think you have a 4 o'clock today, Neville.
Yes, it's the one I told you about yesterday.
I don't remember that. I haven't got it in the calendar.
Oh well, if you've forgotten to put it down, it doesn't matter for now.
I don't think I forgot it. I didn't get an invite to that.
Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I've got to head off in a few minutes. Just briefly, will you get that Sumton what's it letter out today?
The reply to the constituents' letters.
Yes, that's the one.
Yes, I've already drafted something, actually.
Oh, very good. At least you've got something right, eh? I shall catch you later.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Dear constituent, thank you for your letter regarding the proposed Sumton bypass. The bypass is still in the consultation stage and further decisions on the route have yet to be decided. I welcome all constituents' views on this matter during the consultation process while determining the best solution in the interest of the local and wider community. There will be a parish council meeting on 7th of June at 7 p.m. to which all constituents are invited to attend. Yours sincerely, Neville Elms MP, Member of Parliament for Carshaw. Okay, yeah. I'll get those off.
We have one more person to admit. Hello. Oh, you're Teresa, aren't you? Thank you for coming. Just make yourself comfortable, please. And we'll get back.
Sorry, I'm a bit late.
Right. Now, I would think everyone is here. I'm Margaret James. I'm here as your chair. I'm chairing this meeting, which we're going to have about various activities later in the year. But the main purpose today is to give you your opportunity to give your feelings about the new bypass. Who wants to speak first, please? It would be nice if someone were to tell me their opinion, please. That would help.
Margaret, can you not see me here, darling?
Oh, I can now. Yes, I can.
How are you? Lovely to see you.
Well, I think I'm all right, and I'm very pleased to see you.
Now,
yes.
I think Valerie and myself may have put our hands up at the same time. So
I didn't see that. No, I only saw you. Yes.
Valerie, let me put Valerie first, and then I will go after Valerie. There you go, Valerie.
Thank you. Valerie, welcome. Where are you?
Can you see me?
Ah, now I can. Yes, hello. That's the problem. You can't always find people.
My question is very simple. Why haven't they followed common sense and put the bypass proposition to the south? Why did they even have to introduce the north? Because there's nothing in the south to stop anything from going from A to B. No houses, no dwellings, nothing.
Can I go now then, Margaret?
Yes.
Oh, thank you, darling. Thank you. That red looks beautiful on you, by the way. Hope you're well.
One of my favourite colours, yeah.
Yes, so I just wanted to say, apart from it ruining my business, my family and my home, apart from that, really having this bypass will absolutely destroy our beautiful community. So I just feel it's beyond money. We're not talking money. And there's some people here, I'm not saying any names, that are going to be having their, life will be very rosy for them. Let's put it that way, Margaret, if you know what I mean.
Right. Major George, good afternoon.
Yes, I'm glad Susanna brought up the subject of money. I don't particularly mind what happens with the bypass, but what I'm very keen to see is that we all get value for money, and that the tender and the selection of the subcontractor is based on ability, quality, and value for money. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you, Margaret.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. Who wants to speak to me next? Or does no one want to speak to me now?
I think Rebecca wants to say.
Oh, yes, of course. Yes.
I would just like to pull up on Susanna's point, really, where she talked about the livelihoods of people. I would like you to put forward this question when you talk to the planners, etc. Do they actually really realise how it is going to affect people's livelihoods, their emotional well-being? Those sort of questions, because for a lot of people, this is going to impact them greatly.
Right, who else is ready? Or are we all giving up now?
Gordon wants to speak.
Ah, Mr. Butler, right, I'll speak to you. I haven't met you before.
Well, it's the problem is the traffic. There's far too much traffic in the village already, and we can't park. The traffic is slow. There's so much pollution now. Talk about livelihoods. We're all going to be dead. Our children are going to be suffering. We're all going to have heart disease. We're just choking in this village as it is. So the bypass has got to go ahead.
Point.
Can I say something, please?
Peter had his hand up first. Peter, you need to speak, don't you?
Yes, thank you for letting me in. Thank you, Chairman, for letting me in. Look, the thing is, this bypass is completely unnecessary. The traffic congestion can be rerouting traffic through the neighbouring counties' A roads. This is just an exercise in lining people's pockets and ticking metro. Somebody can stand up in the House of Commons, like Neville Elms, one assumes, and say, well, look, we've contributed to our targets. We built so many roads, miles of A roads. Oh, and by the way, this is off the record, of course, I've given it to our mates who've donated generously to party funds. And they'll have a few
right, okay, thank you. I've got
and Major George has already provided some evidence along those lines.
Right, Emma Woods, please.
I do feel for people that are having the bypass affects their business or their livelihood, but my opinion is more based on the local roads. There's several potholes that aren't getting repaired, and I'm just wondering why there's money for the bypass but no money to fill the potholes in.
Absolutely.
Who else needs to speak to me before we wrap up here?
Gordon Jackson. I've been waiting all the time to have a word.
Well, I couldn't see you with your hand up. I'm sorry, because otherwise I would have called you. However, you're on now. Make the most of it, please.
How many years have people in this area been complaining about the air pollution and the traffic through the centre of the town? For decades. And this is our once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to solve the problem once and for all.
Yeah.
So think about our children and our children's children, and think about the bigger picture, which is to make our lives safer.
Right. Thank you for your opinion there. And Miss Melville, yes, I'll speak to you, please.
Well, I'd like to pick up on the last point about our children. I want our children to treasure this environment, this town, the way that we've been able to enjoy it. And I mean, Peter Jones and Susanna have completely put their finger on it. We love the place as it is, but there is a problem with HGVs and the pollution they cause. We don't need a bypass. Actually, we need to protect our countryside. We need measures for HGVs. We need to stop so many HGVs going through our narrow streets.
True.
This is a classic case of NIMBY, not in my backyard. Let's have an area of outstanding natural beauty, and then we can shove the problem to some other village 5 or 10 miles away.
It's me.
About money, is it, Mr. Jackson?
Mm-hmm. No, it's not about money, Mrs. Wheeler.
So who wants to put across their point of view now? I'm ready to listen to you.
Well, as lovely as this has been, I do have a restaurant that is getting rather busy. And I have loved being with you all. But we seem to be going over the same points. And also this is I'm not sure what this meeting is actually going to produce for us, because we seem to be going around in circles. So I may have to pop off very soon. But I do feel that we haven't really listened to some very important people in the community.
Well, Susanna's just mentioned her livelihood. I'm losing my house. 4 generations. Do you realise 4 generations of memories here?
Oh, yeah.
And that's the most important thing.
Funny.
Can I say something? You mentioned everybody should be considered. What about the animals? Everybody is ignoring the fact that if this goes to the north, the whole of the animal rescue centre will disappear. And how many of you would like to see your animals destroyed?
And tell me you're waiting to speak. Right, Teresa.
I just want to say a couple of words that we need to think about each other as well. So it's about safety in the town. I still thinking the bypass is a good idea to do it. Will remove lots of traffic from the city. And
Emma?
I'm sorry to go on about the potholes again. I know it's not really on other people's agenda, but I was just wondering who called for this bypass in the first place? Because I've not heard anything. Why is it even who's called for its need? Why they still can't make better repairs to the local roads?
Could you please, Madam Chair, listen to wonderful Ryan, please?
I think the overdevelopment that could come with a bypass is a bad idea. We'll lose the character of the town. I think it won't develop it properly. I think just the opposite. New people won't want to come here, and the town will become stuck, not going anywhere. And I think there are other ways to solve the problems about the environment than building a bypass, the A roads that Peter Jones mentioned.
Right, well, actually, I think we've spoken about that quite enough for the moment. We'll leave that now, and we'll go on to the other topics that we came to discuss, because they are important in their own way. So let's relax now and go on to the summer festival. Right, seems to me that everybody's gone. So this meeting is finished.